Hello, good evening, and welcome, members of the Women's Wellbeing community. We last met up live with Jan with her excellent session on creating a story for your future, and I hope you found that both enjoyable and useful. I certainly did, so thank you, Jan, for that. Tonight, I'm here to talk to you about intuition. As some of you know, this is a theme which I've been working with quite a lot recently. And so I wanted to share with you some of what I found to be fundamental about the nature of intuition. I'll then be inviting you to make your own observations and ask any questions which arise, and we'll do a short exercise. But the gist of what I'm going to say can be summed up in two statements: that intuition comes to us through the unconscious mind, which means that for practical purposes, it doesn't really matter where it comes from, and that intuition, or rather practicing awareness of what your intuition is telling you, is a behavior, which is as much to say that it can be learned. So, the first statement: intuition comes to us through the unconscious mind. The first thing you need to know, in case you're not consciously aware of it already, is that you have an unconscious mind. It's a bit like a warehouse in your mind for all of the information you're not currently using. Every bit of information that comes into your mind is processed by the warehouse. Some of it is sent straight up to the office. That's your conscious mind, or the thoughts and experiences that you're aware of at any one time. Some of it is sorted, categorized, and put away for a later date, either added to aisles where there's already a lot of similar information, or creating new aisles. Some of it is stored close to the office. The warehouse staff know it's used often and needs to be available at any moment. Some of it stays by the door, waiting for more similar information to come in before they can decide what to do with it. Some of it is put into boxes, sealed, and stored away at the back of the furthest aisle, just in case it might be useful at a later date. Some of it even goes into the recycling bins. The office needs the information in the warehouse to function. And when it functions correctly, the office manager receives what the warehouse staff have sent, understands the intention, and is able to make choices and take actions based on the given information. It's also possible that the office manager knows the information to be true, but doesn't understand where the information comes from or how it was processed. And there we have intuition. It's all very well to know that there is an invisible warehouse in your mind which you can never see, and to listen to the communications that come from the warehouse. But where does all that stuff in the warehouse come from? Some of it has been there for years, slowly accumulating. This is the stuff that means that you never accidentally put your hand into a fire. It's well established. Some of it is learned in day-to-day life, and so is constantly being updated or reinforced. Some of it is produced inside the warehouse itself. Remember those recycling bins? There is a whole staff, shall we say, dedicated to making exciting new stuff out of the materials that are in there. Some of it comes in at the current moment, an awareness of light, temperature, sound, and other less obvious sensory inputs, coupled with stored information about these kinds of experiences, can help us to know how to process any given situation. And yes, in my opinion, there is a sixth sense, which is made up of this very subtle sensory processing and a very intelligent warehouse manager. It's also possible that information is received from elsewhere. There's, for example, the collective unconscious, a kind of mega warehouse which has the inventory of your warehouse, mine, and even information stored or collected by warehouses which are no longer operative, group and ancestral memories. Then there's all the stuff we don't yet know about. Do you believe in spirit guides, ancestral presences, deities? Personally, I believe in all of these in one form or another. But the point that I want to make today is that for practical purposes, it doesn't really matter whether or not you believe in any or all of these, or even, dare I say it, whether or not they exist. Because whatever the answers to that question are, your intuition is still filtered through your unconscious mind. Any external guiding energy, of whatever type, would still need to communicate with you in a way that you could understand. And so your perception of them and their messages would still be shaped by your unconscious mind, which is a very freeing thought because it means that anyone can work with and practice intuition without having to adhere to someone else's set of beliefs. I also have another theory about the biochemical how of intuition, or part of it anyway. I was stunned and then extremely excited recently by a piece of neuroscientific research that showed best friends' brains reacting in the same way to the same stimuli. The same areas of the brain lit up in best friends and even similar areas in friends of friends when shown various video clips designed to provoke an emotional response. So, how close you are to somebody has an influence on how similar your neural chemistry is. It's impossible to say whether this is about human beings influencing the brain circuitry of those around them, or else being naturally drawn to those whose brain circuitry is the same. I'm of the opinion that it's a little bit of both. But either way, what it does suggest is that at the neurochemical level, our brains exchange information with those around us without us knowing about it. You might describe it as a kind of unconscious telepathy. In NLP terms, we would call it deep rapport. So there's another source of information which, before it comes to consciousness, might be processed by our unconscious minds. Okay, so there's a little bit of food for thought. The other thing which I really want to say about intuition is that it's a behavior. It may be an unconscious behavior, and certainly a large part of the process is unconscious, but it's a behavior nonetheless. It's something you do. This is important because it means that it can be learned. Actually, whatever intuition you currently have is already learned, although that may be on an unconscious level. Your brain constantly recalibrates based on information received, and so your intuition will, throughout your life, always be improving as your brain integrates the outcome of already existing actions. But that doesn't mean that you can't take conscious, intentional actions to improve your conscious mind's capability in being open to receiving intuition more clearly, and to integrate your intuitive abilities into part of your decision-making process, which opens a lot of doors. That's where I've been going with my recent work on intuition, and I'm exploring these in both an experiential workshop and an audio course, which I'll talk a little bit about at the end of the video. So I'd like to pause at this point and ask for any questions, observations, or contributions. I realise that although it's a live video, there may not be a lot of people watching it now as it's peak evening hours. So I'm not getting any questions through, so I'll continue on. So I've been thinking a little bit about what kind of exercise we can do together via this medium that will be meaningful and help you to be more in touch with your intuition. And I've decided on a quick guided visualization because, you know, I love guided visualizations to help you to retrieve a piece of information which is relevant and useful for you now. We'll start by entering a relaxed state, which will help you to be more open to what your unconscious mind has to tell you. My invitation to you is to just experience the visualization, trying not to analyze anything that occurs, and to remain relaxed, open, and curious. So before we start, set your intention for this exercise. So it may be that you have a particular situation or question that you want to ask your intuition's advice, if you like, on. Or you may have the more general question, what information is useful to me at this moment? So just spend a moment or two getting really clear on that intention. And then relax into your surroundings. Do whatever you need to do to be comfortable. You may notice your breath. You may notice the feel of those parts of you which are in contact with the floor or with your seat. Just notice how supported you are. And then notice any sounds that are in your awareness. Maybe outside the room you're in, or even inside the room. And just be aware that these sounds may be with us throughout this exercise, but they don't have to be the focus of your attention. And then just notice any thoughts that are with you. And just like with the sounds, it's okay for them to exist. They don't have to be the center of our awareness now. And if there is anything there that's inappropriate or unhelpful at this moment, you can invite it to leave now. Allowing yourself to relax into your seat, becoming grounded in the body, grounded in the breath, allowing your breathing to be as deep and relaxed as is right for you. And then I wonder now if you can find your intention or the question, the intention to find a certain specific bit of information or information that's useful. I wonder if you can invite that to be with you, but keep it slightly outside of you, within your reach, but just outside of your immediate energy field. And then hold that in your awareness. So you might visualize a symbol in front of you that represents that question or intention. It might have a sound attached to it, could even be a word. It might be assigned to a specific point in space, and the qualities of that point in space might be different from everything else around it. And being really clear on your intention or your question. Ask yourself now, if that information resided somewhere in your body, where would it be? If that information resided somewhere in your body, where would it be? And you don't have to be aware of the information yet. Just know where in your body it might be. And when you find that part of the body, just really intentionally begin to send your breath to it. So focusing your attention on that part of the body. And breathing to that part of the body. Breathing into that part of the body. Breathing out to that part of the body. And then keeping your focus there. Take that intention or question which you located just outside your energy field and just pull it in now and put it into that part of the body which holds the information. And as you do that, breathe now from that part of the body. Breathing in from the place where the intention and the information join together. Breathing out from the place where the intention and the information join together. And then staying really open and curious, notice if that information may be ready now to make its way to your consciousness in some form. And you can just invite it to do so. And as you're here, relaxed yet aware, just notice what you might receive. It might come in the form of knowledge, it might be a word or a phrase, it could be a symbol, a feeling. It could come in any form. So now's not the time to analyze, just allow anything that's coming to come. And then just thank your unconscious mind and invite any further information that it receives to be sent to your consciousness in an appropriate manner and at an appropriate time. And then when you're ready, you can come back into an awareness of the room around you. You don't have to turn your attention fully outwards just yet. If there's something that you got out of that exercise that you'd like to sit with, then please do remain in the state that's right for you. And shortly after this video, if you want to, it may be that you've received something that you really know from what you've received what it is, what it means, and it's that piece of the puzzle that you've been after. It may be that you receive something slightly more abstract. So if this is the case, and you can do this even if it's something definite as well, then after this video, go away and journal or paint or move your body, whatever form that you like to express yourself in, and just work with whatever it is that you've received from this exercise. So Jan's asking, I like the notion of intuition as behavior. We intuit. Wondered if you had any examples of when you've intuited to good effect. And my mind's gone blank with that one, actually. I do have plenty of examples. I suppose that the time that I am most consciously aware that I am behaving in an intuitive way is that sometimes when I'm reading tarot, which is one of my favorite tools for intuition, I will say something that's not a traditional meaning of a card, or even it doesn't seem to be appearing anywhere in the card, but I know that's the right way to interpret it. And often that will happen, and then the person I'm reading for will say, hey, that really fits, and they'll tell me about some situation or occurrence which is mirrored by, or even both mirrored and added to by the information from the tarot reading. So I guess that's another aspect of intuition as a behavior, is that it's a behavior, it's also a tool, and we also have other tools to assist us in accessing our intuition. So they might be in the form of exercises like the one we've just done. They might be something like the tarot. There are all kinds of different tools that we can use to access intuition. So I don't know whether that answered your question, Jan. Okay, so fairly short one this evening. I'm going to sign off now. Thank you for joining me, whether you are joining me live or whether you're watching this video later, or if you experience it in the audio form, which I know some people will be very soon. In terms of other media which I'm sharing about intuition, I would like to very excitedly tell you about my 2 upcoming events in August. So August is Intuition Month for me. And so there will be a live event on the 5th of August in Portimao at Legavum Yoga and Massage Studio, a live intuition workshop. So you can find out more about that on my page. And for those of you familiar with the app Insight Timer, and for those of you who are not yet familiar with the app Insight Timer, but would like to be familiar with it, I really recommend it. There's thousands of free meditations on there, all different types, all sorts of different learnings and tools and supports for meditation and for personal development. But the reason I'm mentioning it now and in this intuition video is that my course Exploring Intuition will be out on the Insight Timer app on the 13th of August. So I'm really, really excited to be sharing my work in these ways. You're very welcome to check it out. I love to hear feedback. I love to engage with you on this. So yeah, there's more stuff on intuition around if you want to access it. So thank you for joining me. I wish you a very lovely evening or morning if you're on the other side of the globe from where I'm speaking from, because I know that our group has expanded now to include people from all over the world. So have a lovely evening, morning, day, night. Just have a lovely time. All the best. Thank you.